The concept of ecological civilization is posed because of the catastrophic and barbaric situations that human beings are now find ourselves in. We now have a lot of wars and conflicts, and we also have the problem of climate collapse. We also have the question of food insecurity, and also, of course, the social polarizations that have never been improved. So when we talk about civilization, and if we deserve the term of being civilized, then we should work against the barbaric nature of the kind of problems that we live in now. It was proposed by the Party Congress in 2007, and then later on it was incorporated into the Constitution. The context is that there were a lot of problems in China's development, especially in industrialization, causing a lot of pollution and contamination. So the government has been quite determined to try to address this question. And so posing this, it also shows the orientation, not only for China, but also for the world. Because China cannot be living alone and also tackling the issues alone, because all the issues are so global. The efforts of grassroots initiatives are most important. They are those that are most impacted by the wars and conflicts, by the hunger, by the poverty. And so for them, it is important to find ways of survival. The efforts of the local people usually can address the local context. So so they would go into all the micro levels and all the levels that may not be identified by the government or by those above. That is also why we see that the grassroots, especially communities organized among themselves, then usually they follow the concepts and the practices of reciprocity, of care, of mutual aid. So these are important for us to tackle the issues, not as individuals, but as collectives. Yes, subaltern perspective means that we are looking at the problems of the world not from the center, especially not from the center of the global north, and also we are also concerned about the situation of the people at the grassroots. So taking the subaltern perspective, it could be the middle class, it could be the scholars, it could also be government officials, but then they need to be aware that they are not looking at things from a macro view from above. So subaltern perspective means that you try to look at things from the margin, from the people who are most dispossessed and disadvantaged. And in that sense, then we can understand how the suffering has been induced and how the suffering can be alleviated. I think for China, I think on the one hand, there are a lot of local initiatives going on. So for example, when they were trying to green the desert, a young man of 25 years old, then he called upon people to try to come and help plant trees. And so thousands of volunteers went there to his place, which is called the Minqing County. And so we see a lot of these voluntarism, which would be, I think, a legacy of the Chinese Revolution for several decades. Although now we see a competition and also the jungle law of survival becoming more predominant, I think there is still this legacy of the socialist ethics of caring not just for oneself but for others. So for the young people especially, I think they need to see that there is a hope, there is hope. That it's not just unemployment ahead of them, it's not just climate collapse ahead of them, and it's not just the AI replacing them for jobs. And so we need a world which is free of nuclear contamination, free from possibility of war or conflicts, especially of nuclear weapons, and we need a world which is much more sustainable than what we have now. And so we need to be taking actions against the increase of the temperature. We see all the impacts of the global warming, and every year it sets the hottest record in history. So I think for the young people, I hope you will have the hope and the activism and the courage to try to make a better world for yourself. I think in these days, on the one hand, everything is interlinked, and so we need to look at the world in an interdisciplinary way. So, for example, we need to link how the finance capital in connection with the interests and profit-seeking endeavors of the industrial military complex in the United States is affecting their life here. So, for example, the EU increasing the military budget would directly affect on the welfare of the people in Slovenia or in Europe. So, and not to say all the destruction that would take place if there were wars and conflicts, if there's the possibility of nuclear power plant accidents, which actually in mid-June, we had one accident in France. And it was a technician had made a mistake, and so he turned off the cooling device. And it was turned off for 18 hours. So we were on the verge of a Fukushima type of nuclear power plant accident in southern France, which is so close to us now here in Slovenia. So there would be man-made mistakes, there would be catastrophes. So I think for our own benefits, for the benefits of our next generations, then I think we need to act and to understand what is going on. Yes, I have a lot of confidence in the young people. I like teaching, and I have seen many people with enthusiasm and with a very good intellect, and also with the courage to make changes. And so I think the efforts of young people could be very important in forcing, in telling the adults, the grown-ups, I mean the elder generations, why have you made the world like this? Can we have a world not like this? Can we have new possibilities and new alternatives that we can all live in peace? I think peace is now, I think, one of the most important words that we should fight for. And I'm sure that everyone would want a peaceful world where we live in harmony with ourselves, with each other, with different races and ethnicities, with different species in the world.